appreciate life is short. People talk about it. But until when the doctor pronounced something and then you realize that I only got one more year, then you realize that you truly understand the meaning of life is short. So it's really to find out what's truly important. Spend time with people that matters most to you. Like for example, our loved one, our family members, and so on.
Life is full of ups and downs. It's easy when we are doing great. However, how we deal with the lows determines whether we are going to stay down for a long time or we are going to recover fast and become better. There is a saying, the hardest steel goes into the hottest furnace. I do believe that we can always overcome adversities. These adversities can come from challenging childhood, financial, relationship problem, marriage problem, disabilities, or any other forms. I decided that I need to start reaching out and talk to these people who has overcome various adversities and learn from them how they've used these difficulties as a stepping stone, how these difficulties changed their life for the better. I record my conversations with them so that you can also learn from this amazing individual, take notes, and take massive actions to make our life better. This is Rebound Stronger Podcast. Hi Rebound Stronger listeners, Fauzi here, your host. Today I'm super excited to be with an amazing individual, Mr. Cayden Chang. He came from a disadvantaged childhood, overcome a lot of adversities, and ultimately founded 3 companies: Kinesis Management International LLP, Kinesis Investments Pte Ltd, Value Investing Academy Pte Ltd. This company focused on Nlp Neuro-Linguistic Programming training as well as value investing training throughout different parts of Asia. Cayden fought renal cancers twice. First in 2010, a second stage, and second time in 2014, fourth stage cancers. In 2015, he wrote his second book, The Book of Hope, One Man's Journey Facing Cancer as a Young Husband, Father, and Entrepreneur, to raise funds for cancer research for National Cancer Center. This book tells his experience with the disease, including watching his late mother battle terminal stage lung cancer back in 1997. He also wrote Do You Have What It Takes to Be Boss back in 2010 and donated all the sales proceeds to the Straits Times School Pocket Money Fund. Cayden graduated with 3 degrees, a Bachelor of Science degree, Merit degree, Bachelor of Science with honor, Master of Science degree in e-business from National University of Singapore. He has received the Lifelong Learner Awards in 2008 from Minister of Manpower, Mr. Gan Kim Yong, on 18 November 2008. Cayden has been featured widely on televisions, radio stations, magazines, and newspaper. And I'm really glad to finally meet him and have him on Rebound Stronger Podcast. Cayden, thank you so much for sharing your time with Rebound Stronger Podcast listeners.
Thank you.
Cayden, are you ready to inspire?
Oh, yeah, sure.
All right, let's start. Let's start with something positive. What are the 3 things you are grateful for at this moment, Cayden?
I think the biggest thing that I'm grateful for is the time that I'm being given. Because as a cancer survivor, what we need is actually time. Yeah, but these are things that I used to take it for granted when I was healthy. So time to me is something that I'm really grateful for. The second thing is my family, which consists of my 2 little girls and my wife. So this is the second thing I'm grateful for. And the third thing I'm grateful for is actually the family support I get from my parents-in-law.
Okay.
Yeah, because my parents already passed on. So other than my wife, my 2 kids, my parents-in-law are the closest people that I have. Yeah, so I'm grateful for these 3 things.
Thanks, Cayden. Cayden, you have a lot of personal rebound story. Well, to actually capture all this story, I have to have you back many times on my podcast and share these really inspiring stories. Well, from growing up in poor families, failings in A-level twice, before finally got admitted in the Faculty of Science, National University of Singapore, and many more, including your battles with cancers back in 2010 and 2014. So, Cayden, I want to learn more about your experience fighting with renal cancers, both in 2010 and 2014. So let's start. How did you find out the first time when you had cancer back in 2010?
So during the time in 2010, it was somewhere in the middle part of the year. So I was working as usual in typical office hours, and suddenly I have a severe pain on the right side of my waist. So it was right side. So in my entire life, I never had such a excruciating pain. So it's so bad that I couldn't even sit up straight.
This is just suddenly one day.
Yeah, just suddenly, then suddenly it's very painful. So I thought, wow, what's this? No? I didn't see that it's going to be so serious. So what happened is I told my staff saying that it's really very bad. I don't think I can survive the next few hours. So I told her to call an ambulance. So eventually the ambulance came, and my office in the early days was along Pearl Hill Terrace. Up on the hilltop. So the ambulance came. I was brought to the emergency department in SGH, Singapore General Hospital. So initially when I went to the emergency department, the doctors over there in charge did those ultrasound scan. So they say, your pain is on the right, so we're going to scan the right side. So when they scanned, they couldn't really identify what was the problem. But they suspect most likely it's going to be kidney stone.
Oh, okay.
Because from the way I described the pain, he said most likely it's going to be kidney stone. So the doctor over there assured me that it's most likely it's kidney stone, so it's fine. So what they did was they just asked me to drink water. So no medication, no nothing. I was lying on the bed, keep on drinking water for the next few hours. And then the doctor was there, was telling me that the pain will slowly subside. So really, after approximately 2 hours of really very bad pain, the pain sort of diminished across time. And then eventually the pain was gone. So I was thinking, wow, so lucky, not that bad, right? So the doctor sent me back home, but he told me to play safe. He sent me to the urology center in SGH, so to see a specialist. So he said this is the play safe. So I got an appointment, and when the day comes, I went to see the urologist. So I can still remember the first appointment I had in urology center is there was this Indian doctor, very young, probably in his early 30s. So he came, he did the same thing. He used an ultrasound scan to scan on my right. And then it scans. So he said, suspect that it could be a kidney stone. But I say, that's fine. You drink water, that's fine. And then after that, he scanned on the left. The left side of my waist. So when he was scanning on the left, I was wondering why is he scanning my left when the pain is on the right? So he just continued to scan. So after he scanned the left side, he didn't say anything. He walked off, and then walked off to the next room. Then called a senior consultant. So they're different rank. So he's the consultant and next one senior consultant. So a Chinese doctor came over and he did the same thing. He scanned on the right and then he said, most likely it's kidney stone. Although they can't pinpoint where is it. And then he scanned the left. After he scanned the left, he and this Indian doctor went to a corner of the room and then he
discussed.
I was thinking, wow, that doesn't look very good.
Sounds serious.
Yeah, so scary. So the two doctors came, and then eventually the senior consultant, the Chinese doctor, said that right side, most likely is kidney stone. Then he said, but that's not the thing I'm worried about. Wow, that was like, what do you mean by it's not the thing that I'm worried about? Then he said, what I'm worried about is what's on your left.
So what actually caused the pain? Is it on the right?
So the pain is actually on the right.
So it's
got nothing to do with
the left side. Oh, okay. So
it's like two mutually exclusive events. So he said, it's not the right side I'm worried about, but it's the left. So I was thinking, wow, what's on the left? So the first thing that flashed through my mind is, can it be cancer? But cannot be, right? And then eventually the doctor said, he gave more detail. He said, they found a tumor. And the moment the word comes out from my mouth, it's like the whole world collapsed. No? He says a tumor. And then he used the word, he said it looks sinister to me. Actually, he shouldn't use the word, but he used the word sinister. It's not a scientific word. So he said that the tumor looks sinister to me. And then in split seconds, suddenly my mind just went blank. So I was just, how can it be, I keep asking myself, how can it be? How can I have this thing? The pain is on my right. How can I have the tumor on the left? So a lot of dialogue were going inside my head. Yeah. So it was really very confusing at the time. So that was how, all these things got started. When he said there's a sinister looking tumor on my left.
So what did you do after that? I mean, I'm pretty sure you mentioned about a lot of dialogues, a lot of. I'm sure a lot of things, worried, etc. How I'm going to deal with this.
Yeah, correct.
So maybe you can share more about that. How you.
So if I may break down, it's like first one was shock. So the first phase was shock, and then the second phase was like self-denial, and it took place within the clinic. So when the doctor said there's a sinister-looking tumor. So this thing was going on. How can it be? How can it be? And then self-denial. How can it be? of all the world, 5.5 million population in Singapore, why is it me? Why can't it be somebody else and so on? So I didn't do any bad things. All this thing, all this justification suddenly just flashed through my mind. So the doctor came on talking, but I don't know what he's talking about because my mind was all this dialogue. Internal dialogue going inside my mind.
Trying to digest the shocking news.
Yeah, the shocking news. So to me, it was unacceptable. This thing happens to me. It shouldn't have happened, and even if it happens, it shouldn't happen to me. So I find it very difficult to accept this.
How did you get over that, and then maybe to ultimately maybe seek medications and go through
it was quite a long process. So after the doctor told me that I got this problem, the first thing that I called is actually my wife. Okay. So my wife also got shocked. So for a few days, me and my wife, we were attempting to digest this information. So from that point onwards, every single day I was crying, serious. So daytime I was working to distract myself from all this news.
Yeah.
But I knew that I have to accept it. But I was in self-denial for a couple of days. So at night when I go back home, when you got nothing to do, you lie on the bed, right? Then you'll be thinking of the worst. So my mind was just thinking of the worst. And then what happened is that the doctor said that nothing can be done in the sense that the tumor is really there. I have to accept it. The appointment. So he say, because they are very scientific, they're very SOP.
Yeah.
They're not talking about, your human feelings. So to them, it's protocol. Please do this.
Yeah. So
to them, is Mr. Chang, what you need to do is we need to focus on salvaging of right kidney. Because there might be a stone. And if the stone is not dislodged from your right kidney, and if your right kidney is damaged, right, then your life will end. Yeah. So the urologist's focus was to salvage my right. So he was focusing on getting rid of that stone.
Yeah.
So he gave me medication to relax the muscle in the kidney, and then so that I can pass it up. Yeah. Then first solution was to deal with the kidney stone. So second solution for him is to identify how bad or how good the tumor is. Is it a stage 1? Is it stage 2? Is it stage 3? And so on. So he said there are a couple of ways to do it. Number one, you use like a scope. You poke inside, take out the cells. But you find that it's of no use. Why? Because the entire bean-shaped kidney, it's supposed to be bean-shaped. It looks very serrated by the side. So in other words, the most likely the entire left kidney is gone.
Okay.
So his answer is to remove the entire left kidney.
Okay.
Yeah.
So was it what happened? I mean, did they operate and then took out the left?
So eventually, I saw him for a second time, and he double confirmed that it's really tumorous, and the tumor most likely is malignant, which is harmful. So then after that, the protocol came, and then I do this. I still remember very clearly that the surgery date was a day after the National Day. That was in 2010.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was very easy for me to remember. But the surgery is only, because surgery there's nothing much I can do. But it's the point in time when I saw him for the first time until the surgery that there was 2 weeks. Well, these 2 weeks is really emotionally very, very tiring, very draining.
Yep.
And then whatever that's happened to me affected my wife. And during that time, I only had one child. So I was thinking about the worst. But I wanted to, as a parent, you want to see a child grow up.
Yes.
Yeah. So suddenly it's like all my dreams that, I planned for a very long term. Suddenly all the dreams all shattered. It doesn't really matter anymore. How much money that I have doesn't really matter anymore. So nothing else matters except having time.
Yeah. So after the operations, what did you do to maybe to keep your self healthy or to keep your mindset positive? So
the surgery was really very, very bad because I have a scar that spans from the middle of my body to the side. So it's approximately 30 cm long. So it's a very big surgery. So after the surgery, I was in they call it the high dependency unit, maybe for around 5 days. So it's like one unit below the ICU.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's very bad. Then after that, I was transferred to the normal ward. Yeah, so the pain was so bad that I couldn't sit up straight. I couldn't cough. Anything that deals with the muscle here, right? Wow, the pain is really bad. It's like 11 out of 10. It's really very bad. Then at the same time, to deal with the emotional part. Yeah, my business and all this, how I'm going to do this. And then will the cancer cells come back? Yeah, so...
So how do you get back to normal?
I focus on work.
Okay.
Yeah, I focus on work. So the good thing that I have is actually my work. So I find that the work is really a very good distraction. And the nature of my work is really to train people on motivation on this.
Yeah.
And to me, fortunately, I'm doing this because by doing what I do, actually I draw energy from participants.
Okay.
And then I just find that it's also positive in the sense that I could share my stories. And somehow, when I share my stories, I get the positive feedback. So I just find that
Keep you more motivated to do it.
So my work keeps me really very energized, keeps me positive, and of course the support and love from my
Family,
wife, my kids, and my parents-in-law.
Then fast forward to 2014, and again during your yearly checkup, the doctor delivered another shocking news.
Yeah, actually the checkup is every 6 months.
Every 6 months.
Every 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah. So I do not have any sign of cancer cells for 4 years. So usually remission period is 5 years. After 5 years, the doctor will say, most unlikely you're going to have it. But unfortunately, 4th year, when I went for my 6 monthly checkup, they found 2 tumors. 2 tumors.
Yeah.
So initially, when they found 2 tumors, the oncologist didn't know whether these 2 tumors independently developed throughout the years. That means which got nothing to do with the first episode. Or is it got to do with the first episode? Yeah. So this one makes a lot of difference. Yeah, because if it's independent,
then
it's actually a better news.
Okay.
Because the cells didn't spread.
Okay.
So if the original cells comes from the very first episode, that means the cells have spread. So when it spread, it's a bad news. Yeah.
Okay.
So what they did was, during the scan, they found 2 tumors on my ureter. Ureter is the urinary tract that runs from the kidney to the bladder. So they found one right in the middle of the urinary tract, which is the ureter, and one at the junction of the ureter together with the bladder. So they found 2 tumors. So the urologist was quite surprised because they said that of all, based on scientific evidence, whenever there's a relapse, the cells would go up, as in go up to the upper part of the abdomen, which is in fact a worse news. Because if it goes up, it goes to the lungs. It may go to the bone, it may go to the brain.
Yep.
So if the cells goes up to the lungs, most of them would die. Yeah, so he says strangely he couldn't explain that the cells went downwards. Not only it went downwards, which he defies whatever medical evidence research. Not only it went downwards, when it went downwards, they aggregate themselves as tumors. Yeah, so he said in the entire world there are only 50 of such cases. So he take my case study as a research work.
Okay.
So to me, whether research work is not really important to me.
Yeah.
The key thing is the cells aggregate, and it didn't go anywhere else. So the treatment was quite simple. The treatment was to go through another round of surgery to remove the 2 tumors. But of course, during the time when they removed I was quite worried. Was there any cell somewhere? Could it be in the bloodstream? Could it be in my lymph nodes? Could it be anywhere? So that time, what they did to me was they sent me for a CT scan. CT scan, and the CT scan showed nothing. The bone, everything, nothing. But I still wasn't
the whole
convinced.
body.
Yeah, because CT scan has their own limitation where any tumors below 2 mm they couldn't detect. So I wasn't convinced. So I went for a second opinion, and I went for a third opinion. So even though the same information was passed from one doctor to another doctor, I realized that the way they say it could either help the patient or could kill the patient. I've seen quite a total 3 oncologists.
Okay.
Yeah. So in the end, my key takeaway is from all the 3 oncologists I've seen is I need to go for another type of more specific scan, which is known as a PET scan, PET. They call it a positron emission topography. So what it does is they inject a radioactive glucose inside the body. So what cancer cells behave is every time when there's glucose, they will consume the glucose. And they consume the glucose in a different way as compared to normal cells. So in other words, if the glucose is being consumed by cancer cells, and I put through this cylindrical thing where they spin around and then they scan, then that cell would light up. So in other words, 2 mm is for CT scan, but the PET scan is able to detect at a cellular level.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to feel good on that everything is clear. So I told the oncologist and National Cancer Center saying that I want to go for a PET scan. Yeah, so he was very nice. He said, okay, we do it. So it was quite scary. So I did it in, I think, 2014, just before Christmas. And they scanned the entire body. That one's really from head to toe.
So this procedure takes how long from they inject you put it in the glucose?
So they inject a very, very cold fluid. Then I'm supposed to lie down for 1 hour without any movement. So they put me in a very small room, like a storeroom like that, allow me to sleep. So that I don't move around and then affect their process. So after 1 hour, it wasn't really a painful process. So after 1 hour, I put in the spinning equipment. Yeah, like a CT scan where my entire body goes in and then comes out. It takes maybe another half an hour. Then after that, 1 week later, they'll review the news and scan. So the scan is quite simple. It's like X-ray, you know. So if there are colors, that means I'm done. So if it's completely black, then I'm okay. So unfortunately, the first result when it came out, they saw there are some highlight at intestine. And they said, wow, so I was, wow, don't tell me. That's one more. Wow, I find it was quite difficult. But the oncologist said it's nothing conclusive. So what they can do is they check me every 1.5 months. 1.5 months to check is actually very rare. Usually it's every 6 months. Yeah. So the oncologist classify me as a high-risk patient.
So up till now, you have to go to check every
right now it's every 2 months.
Now every 2 months.
Every 2 months, I go for a blood test.
Okay.
Yeah. So what they do is they check one type of enzyme called lactate dehydrogenase. They call LDH for short. So they take out the blood and then they go and test. If it's, let's say, 500 units and below, is considered safe. Anything beyond 500, that means something is wrong. But they cannot conclude. Yeah, so it's like indirect check. So during a time when I was diagnosed with the stage 4, mine was like 1,200, which is way beyond 500.
So from these two experiences, right, what's your biggest takeaway? What is the biggest lesson you learned from these two encounter?
Oh, it's actually very simple. It's actually time.
Time.
Yeah, I just find that time is the only thing that we have. Yeah, so without time, actually, there's nothing. We can be rich, we can be successful, we can be billionaire, whatever, doesn't really matter. Because once the doctor pronounced that you only got 3 more months to go, that's it.
So what's your suggestion for people or the listeners to make use, to make the best use of their time?
It's really to find out what are the things that truly matters to them.
Okay.
It's because when a person is healthy, in the early days when we're healthy, we always think that we are immortal. It's like time is infinite, we'll live forever.
Yeah.
So even though you read quote, life is short, I can tell you nobody truly appreciates life is short. People talk about it. But until when the doctor pronounced something and they realize that I only got 1 more year, then you realize that you truly understand the meaning of life is short. Yeah, so it's really to find out what's truly important. Spend time with people that matters most to you. Like for example, our loved one, our family members, and so on. But of course, people want to be successful. They'll spend a lot of time at work. So it's really a choice.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's only when something happens, then you get a wake-up call, then you realize that, we're supposed to spend more time with your loved ones.
Yeah. And who are the significant people who help you go through this period?
I think my wife plays the most significant role. Because during a time when I was in my deathbed, my wife is one of the person that I want to see. So this is one. And the other 2 people that I want to see is actually my 2 kids. But they're too young to understand and I didn't tell them anything. But even though they don't understand, the mere fact that if they visit me in the hospital, I just find that these are the people these are things that I really want. Yeah, so the rest really don't really matters to me. So it's my family, so this one. And the second thing I want to share is is sometimes during our darkest days, then you finally realize who truly cares for you. You always hear this thing that when you're bad times, those people who stay around you are your friends. Yeah. So it was also during my first episode of cancer. Then my eldest brother, I got 3 eldest brothers. So my eldest brother came to visit me. That was in 2010 after my surgery.
Yeah.
But he's a very cool guy, so he came here, and then he just said, "How are you?" and all that stuff. But there was an interesting twist to the story is that after he visited me first time at SGH, before he walked off, he passed a message to his wife, which is my elder sister-in-law. So my elder sister-in-law told my wife. So they have a conversation, but I was lying on the bed. So they have a conversation along the corridor. Then after the conversation is done, 2 of them left. My eldest brother and my elder sister-in-law left. So my wife came in. And my wife came over and she told me. She said that my eldest brother, through my elder sister-in-law, told her that touch wood, in case if my right kidney failed, for whatever reason, my eldest brother would donate his kidney to me. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is something I think right now as I speak about it, I find it's quite moving. For a few things, it's like number 1, I didn't ask him for a kidney. Number 2, he volunteered. And in my entire family, I have 3 elder brothers. Of all the 3 eldest brothers, my eldest brother is the least educated.
Okay.
He's N level. So the other 2 eldest brothers, they are degree holders. So you see, whether the person is kind or magnanimous, it's got nothing to do with the qualification.
True.
Yeah. So he's the only one that says, wanted to give. I just find who would voluntarily give that kidney? Yeah, nobody would go through this process. So it's true that my perspective of my eldest brother really changed a lot. I know he's a good guy, but I didn't know he's that good. Yeah.
So for us who might have family members or friends who's maybe suffering from cancers, how we can best support the person?
Assuming that the listeners, if you have anyone who or somebody that's close to you who are suffering from cancer, I think it's just my take.
Yeah.
Is from my perspective, is what we need most is care and concern from our loved one.
Okay.
And the care and concern sometimes is not like we need advice. Actually we need a space for us to breathe. What we need is the physical presence of the person beside us. For example, when my wife came and visited me, I don't want to listen to a story about, it's fine. I don't want. What I need her to do is just to sit beside me and prepare to listen to me like I've got something to tell her. She don't have to tell me things, but I just need to feel her presence. So the fact that if I could feel her presence, that anytime when I want her, she's beside me, right? I think that's really good enough. Yeah, and for listeners, it's really spare some time, be present, truly present over there, and stay close to the one that's going through this.
Similar things also for those who are suffering.
Yeah.
So what's your, maybe if there's any tips you can share?
Okay. Well, this is quite difficult.
Yeah. I think it's everybody has a different experience. Different.
Yeah, I can only share my perspective.
Yeah.
And for those people who are really going through cancer right now, I'm sorry to hear about all this. So my take, but you don't have to take my words for it, is it took me a while to have some learning lessons. Yeah. So the learning lessons I have for those people who are going through this cancer is really 4 short sentences. So the first sentence is we must learn how to accept it versus denial, because it's really happening. So first one is to accept it. Next one is really to face it. So you accept it, you face that there's going to be this thing.
Yep.
And the next one is to deal with it. How am I going to go through this? Am I supposed to go for surgery, treatment, deal with it? And the last one is once you have deal with it, let it go. Don't let the past of your history about cancer or whatever and then being bogged down by this. So you really need to let it go and then start your life fresh again.
Thank you. So Cayden, let's just moving on. What's your current passion?
Current passion?
Passion, yeah, sorry.
4 things, quite simple. The first one is to teach. So all along I love teaching. This is why I run my own training company. The second one is to invest. Invest. And my intention of investing is, through the 2 rounds of cancer, money is really not the key. But the investing will allow me to build my third thing. The third thing, which is my passion, is actually to build a endowment fund for cancer research.
Okay. I saw a news that you give an endowment fund for SMU.
Yeah. So I donated a small sum of money to Singapore Management University to start the endowment fund. Endowment fund is a charity fund, charity investment fund. And what the SMU will do is whatever return they get from a fund will be given to students who are financially challenged, who want to study but they don't have money.
Okay.
So first one is to teach, invest, and invest is to build a fund, which is my third one. And the last one is to spend time with my family, because they are the one that matters most.
And where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
5 years from now, my dream is actually to build at least 3 more endowment funds. Yeah, so this is my end point, is to build an endowment fund. And the endowment fund, the focus predominantly will be on cancer research. This is one of my passions. The second one is on palliative care. Palliative care, that means effort to help those people who are
recovering.
No, not recovering. Rather than they are dying, they are passing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So anybody with a 12 months of lifespan or less, they belong to this palliative care.
Okay.
So it's to build a fund, and the next one is to write books. And the purpose of writing books is, again, all the proceeds, author's proceeds will be given to charity. So in short, it's really all charity work.
Good. That's really great.
Okay. Yeah. I already have what I need. Yeah.
What's the most important habit which has contributed to your success?
Number one, I don't think I'm very successful. But what I felt important is really to put in a lot of hard work. Yeah, it's easy not to do anything, but it's very difficult to do something. So hard work I find is important. And the next one is tenacity. Because when anyone want to achieve the dreams, there's always a lot of obstacles. So we must be able to pull through all these obstacles or difficulties. So yeah, hard work and tenacity.
All right. And you also teach about this Nlp Neuro-Linguistic program, right? So maybe could you share with the listeners maybe some practical tips for them to maybe apply can apply this NLP technique quickly in their life?
Okay. So one very quick concept in NLP is actually about our belief system.
Yep.
So what we choose to believe in will totally affect how we behave. So for example, if, some people believe that money is evil. So if they believe that money is evil, then whatever things they do, they find that I shouldn't make more money and so on.
They will self-sabotage.
Right. They self-sabotage, and then that's why people have sometimes their income is a bit low because they find that money is the root of all evil. But if let's say there's another guy which has a totally different belief system, they can be working in the same company, the same post, doing exactly the same thing. So if the other person choose to believe that having money, they are able to do good for people who are disadvantaged or whatever, then because they believe in that, their behavior in working or closing the sales or whatever is going to be very different. And because they behave very differently, the results that they produce in their life will really be very different from the other group who think that money is the root of all evil. Yeah. So the practical tip is really to choose a belief system that works well for you. And how do you do that? Specifically, by modeling after people who has been there and done that. So it can be reading books, it can be listening to the podcast that you're doing a great job. It can be watching YouTube video, it can be anything. So the key thing is by surrounding ourselves with a lot of positive things. It can be friends, it can be books, it can be videos, all this, including the podcast. Then that will slowly change our belief system.
Yep. Thanks. And if you could recommend 3 books to the listeners, what are these 3 books?
Okay. I read a lot of books. So I just share the 3 books. The first book that I really like is, the title is called Success Principles, written by Jack Canfield. So it's a very thick book. It's a 1-inch thick book. Yeah, but the chapter is written in very short. So every single chapter is just like 2 pages and talk about one success principle. So you don't have to read from front to back. You just need to read like selectively.
Yeah.
So Success Principle by Jack Canfield. The second book is a Chinese book. Is written by the book says it's written by Li Ka-shing, but I think shouldn't be. But anyway, the Chinese title, if I translate English, is called Success Wasn't Coincidental.
Success wasn't coincidental.
So if I translate directly from a Chinese title, it's by Li Ka-shing. So he shared his journey about how he achieved success, how he overcome obstacles. So he come from a poor background as well. Yeah. So this is the second book. The last one is more on investing. It's actually the book called Buffettology, written by my mentor. Her name is called Mary Buffett.
Mary Buffett, yeah.
Yeah. So I just find that she's one of those very rare people who can write investment book in a very simple and easy to understand way. Usually things investment book are very complex. So she make it very layman. So these are my 3 favorite books.
All right. How can people get in touch with you, Cayden?
A couple of things they can do. First one is they can add me on Facebook by going to www.facebook.com caydenchang.nlp. So Cayden Chang, one single word, .nlp. Or they can send me an email to enquiries, plural, at mindkinesis.com.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll put those the link to your Facebook as well as your email address in the show notes. Yep. All right. One final question. What's your definitions of courage, Cayden?
It's actually the 4 phrases that I've said. My definition of courage is whenever we encounter any adversity, choose to accept it, face it, deal with it, and then let it go.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. And most of all, thank you for being such an amazing individual and inspiring to other people. Thanks. Thank you so much, Cayden.
Thank you, Fauzi, for doing this.
All right. Thank you. If you haven't already signed up for my Sunday Reflections, I urge you to do so. Every Sunday evening, I sit down and reflect the things I learned throughout the week. This includes interesting lessons I learned from podcast episodes or books I'm reading, events in my personal and professional life, my setbacks, my small wins, what's working and not working in my life. I hope it can give you useful insight and actionable tips which you can implement in the following weeks. It's free and will always be free. So what are you waiting for? Go to reboundstronger.com/Sunday and sign up for Sunday Reflections.